This is a Tier 4 GEVO locomotive. Inside is a Soundtraxx Tsunami 2 decoder. Today we'll be talking about little known features of the decoder and how it's so much different from the original Tsunami. So let's start off with some great features about the Tsunami 2 decoder, including that there's 28 functions with over 50 effects. There's 16 sound channels, with the nearest competition at just 8. You have a more powerful amplifier that results in louder, clearer sounds. There's digital dynamic exhaust, which we'll show you, and a lot of other features that we'll have to get into over a series of videos. But today, let's talk about some of the great features. There are a lot of different horns and bells to choose from, but we're going to listen to the one that's programmed in right now for this Tier 4 GEVO. Here's the bell. And here's the horn. You have the automatic ringing of the bell set, which is a configuration variable. You have great sounds like the dynamic brake fans. With configuration variables, you can program how the prime mover responds, just like the prototype when dynamic brakes are activated. Now we're going to talk about F11, which is brake set and brake release. I'll show you how it operates both from a moving locomotive and a stationary locomotive. So we have our Tier 4 GEVO entering the screen here. We're going to hit F11, and it is going to bring the locomotive to a stop. So now you have the locomotive stopped. You can rev the locomotive up with your throttle. You'll hear the RPMs increase in the prime mover. And when you hit F11 again, it's going to release the brakes, and your locomotive will go to the speed that you pre-designated with your throttle. Now let's talk a little more about braking. Typically, the decoder is in independent brake mode, which means the engineer generally applies the brakes on the locomotive during switching operations and to control slack between units. You can use the independent brake function to simulate applying the locomotive brake independently from the rest of the train. That's like I showed earlier with hitting F11 when you're moving. You can stop with F11. Now, if you hit F12, that applies the train brake. On the prototype, air hoses are fastened to each piece of equipment to form a single braking system. Referring to the train brake or automatic brake, the train brake function allows you to simulate applying each unit's brake at once to reduce train speed. So this will be different than the independent brake in terms of frequency. When you hit F12, like I'm about to do, you will hear the air compressor cycle to simulate charging of the train line, and it indicates that the train brake is selected. So now you'll have different speeds at which the locomotive will stop because it's simulating an entire train's braking system versus just the locomotive. The air compressor will cycle at different rates than with the independent brake. So those are some of the cool features of braking alone in the Tsunami 2 decoder. As you see, the locomotive is moving along here, and I'm going to have my finger stop it What do you hear there? That is increased RPM of the prime mover. What I've just demonstrated is digital dynamic exhaust, another feature of Tsunami 2. So in this feature, the decoder senses the load difference, whether that's an increase in the grade of your layout, or if that's picking up a consist and moving out. The decoder senses that and increases the RPM accordingly of the prime mover sounds, so you'll hear the notch up in that case. Well, I hope you enjoyed a quick look at some of the features that are not well known about the Tsunami 2 decoder. It allows for realistic operation of your railroad, great sound, and a lot of nice features, including those braking features. So overall, a great decoder, and we'll be covering more features in upcoming videos right here online. Until next time, this is James Wright. Take care.